Welcome to Straight Dive Podcast.
Hello, everyone.
For you car fans who are learning English, today we're doing a deep dive. We'll look closely at a very special car from 1936.
Yes, the Horch 853. A really stunning machine.
Absolutely. It's such an elegant car, and its story, well, it might surprise you. We'll also touch on places like the Riga Motor Museum, which has some amazing cars from this era.
And the Horch 853 is, truly a high point of car design from the 1930s. It all started with a man named August Horch.
Right. He kicked off his company way back 1899, I think.
That's it. And at first he was actually just fixing cars. Then he moved into designing his own.
And the Horch 853, many people think that was his best work, right?
Definitely one of them. So in the mid-1930s, Horch brought out two new types. There was the Type 830.
That had the V8 engine, 3 liters.
Correct, a 3-liter V8. And then there's the Type 850. That's the one with the big 5-liter straight 8 engine.
And a straight 8 engine, just so you know, means all 8 cylinders, the parts that make the power, are lined up in a row.
Precisely. And the Horch 853 we're talking about, that was part of this 850 series. It was designed as a sporty cabriolet.
Cabriolet meaning you can open the roof, right? Take the top down.
Exactly. And the 853 was, it was a big hit. Super successful. It just looked so elegant, partly because it often had this two-tone paint.
Didn't it have that weird paint option?
Oaicite. You mean the fish silver? Yeah, you could pay extra for metallic paint. And that shiny, glittery effect. It came from using tiny, ground-up pieces of fish scales.
Fish scales? On a luxury car like that? That's wild. An elegant car with fish scales.
I know. Quite the detail. And speaking of details, the engine in the 853 was pretty substantial.
Yeah, that's straight 8, 4,911 cc, so just under 5 liters. And it made 100 horsepower.
Which gave it a top speed around 84 miles per hour. Not bad for such a big car back then.
But thirsty a bit.
Oh, yeah. Fuel consumption was about 11 miles per gallon. You wouldn't call it economical.
Definitely not. And they didn't make that many, did they?
No, very few, actually. Only 619 Horch 853s were produced. That was between 1935 and 1937.
Wow, only 619.
And you have to remember, Horch was really going head-to-head with Mercedes-Benz in the luxury market. It was serious competition.
So when Mercedes brought out their famous 540K,
Horch responded with things like the 853 Special Roadster, trying to capture that same wealthy customer base, people wanting a top-tier luxury car.
So if you had the money, you had a choice. Interesting. And how did they develop these special models? I heard something about wood.
That's right. For the Special Roadster, they actually built a full-size model out of wood first, to get the shape just right.
A wooden model.
Then the actual production happened at a factory in Milan, Germany.
Did they ever think about boosting the engine power?
They did consider it. There were plans, or at least thoughts, about adding a supercharger, a device to force more air into the engine for more power.
Right, like Mercedes did with the K models.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But in the end, Horch decided against it. They felt the straight 8 engine was powerful enough already, especially since it had overdrive.
Overdrive. Like an extra gear for cruising, helps with speed and maybe fuel economy a tiny bit.
Sort of, yeah. Makes highway driving a bit smoother and more efficient, so they stuck with that.
Makes sense. And there wasn't just one style of this elegant car, was there?
No, there were a few different coach builders involved.
Mm-hmm.
Horch built some bodies themselves, of course. But specialized companies like Glazer and another called Erdmann and Rossi, they also built bodies for the 853 chassis.
So you could get slightly different looks, but still rare today. How many are left?
Extremely rare. Across all those different styles, it's thought only about 6 original cars survive today. Maybe a few more undiscovered, but very few.
6. That makes them incredibly valuable luxury items now.
Absolutely. And the Horch factory itself back in Zwickau, they weren't churning these out. Production was slow, maybe 15 to 20 cars a month.
And they kept track of who got them.
Meticulously.
Yeah.
Sales records noted the license plate and the owner's name. Very detailed.
And some of those owners were pretty well-known figures, weren't they? Famous or infamous?
Yes, the owner list is quite something. You had high-ranking Nazis like Himmler and Goering. Also, the German ambassador to the USSR, Schulenburg.
Wow. Any others?
Finland's Marshal Mannerheim had one.
Oh, yeah.
And the Italian auto union racing driver, Achille Varzi, was an owner too.
Quite a list. And wasn't there a special one made for another racer?
Ah, yes, Bernd Rosemeyer, another famous German driver. They built a unique coupe version just for him, one of a kind.
And August Horch himself, did he drive one?
He did. In the late 1930s, when he was honorary director of the factory, he drove a Horch 853 convertible, driving his own elegant creation.
That's fitting. What were they actually made of under the paint?
Well, the main frame was actually wood, beechwood, treated with linseed oil for protection.
Wood, really? For the frame?
Yep. Then the body panels were steel and aluminum over that. Inside, it was pure luxury. Fine Morocco leather, different types of wood trim.
And the ride, how was that?
Pretty advanced for the time. It had independent suspension, meaning each wheel could react to bumps separately. Made for a smoother ride. But it was a heavy car, over 2.5 tons.
That's heavy, but still quite fast, you said.
Yeah, top speed was around 135 kilometers per hour, which is about 84 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So it could move, despite the weight. An elegant heavyweight.
What happened to them after the war, especially the ones in Germany or Eastern Europe?
Well, after World War II, some ended up in the Soviet Union, owned by prominent figures there too. People like Vasily Stalin, Stalin's son, an architect named Alexei Shuchusev, and a famous pilot, Alexander Pokrishkin.
So they were still seen as luxury cars, even then?
For a while, yes. But then the Soviet Union started producing its own high-end cars. The Zim, the Chaika, the Volga.
Oh, so the Horch became less fashionable.
Exactly. And parts. Finding original Horch parts became almost impossible. So people started adapting parts from Soviet cars just to keep them running. Eventually, many were sold off cheap or maybe given to drivers.
A bit of a decline then.
For a time. Interestingly, in Moscow, there were these commission shops, like secondhand stores, and apparently they were full of German cars after the war, including Horch. They definitely attracted attention.
But now, they're back in demand.
Oh, absolutely. Today, the Horch 853 is highly, highly valued by collectors. It's seen as a pinnacle of pre-war luxury and elegant design.
So if you find one now, maybe in poor condition, what does it take to restore it?
A lot of work. I mean, a full restoration involves taking the entire car apart, down to the last nut and bolt.
Wow.
Then you have to repair the bodywork, dealing with both steel and aluminum, maybe replacing rotten wood in the frame, restore the chassis, the whole frame structure. Then there's paint, overhauling the engine and transmission, redoing all the chrome plating.
The interior too, I guess? The leather, the wood?
Everything. New wiring harness, sourcing any missing parts, which, as we said, is incredibly difficult and expensive. And after all that work to restore it, you have to test everything thoroughly.
Sounds like a huge undertaking. A real labor of love to restore such an elegant car.
Definitely. It's a massive commitment. And speaking of being seen, the Horch 853 was actually quite famous in Soviet films.
Oh, really? How many?
It appeared in over 25 movies, apparently. There's even a story about a famous Soviet TV series, 17 Moments of Spring.
The spy show.
That's the one. The director considered using a Horch 853 for the main character, Sturlitz, but they decided against it.
Why not? It seems like the perfect car.
They thought a Horch, especially one with diplomatic plates, would be too conspicuous, too noticeable for a sky. Plus, the only suitable Horch they could find was already being used by another film studio, so they went with a Mercedes-Benz 230 instead.
Huh. Too famous, too elegant for its own good in that case. Are there any originals left in Russia now?
Yes. Reports suggest there are at least 5 original Horch 853s still in Russia. Some have been beautifully restored.
Can you see one anywhere?
You can. There's one on display at the Zadarozhny Museum of Technology, which is near Moscow. Definitely worth seeing if you're into these elegant classic cars.
Good tip. Now, going back to August Horch for a second.
Yeah.
He didn't just create Horch, did he?
No, that's a key part of the story. He actually left his first company, Horch, because of disagreements with shareholders. This was back in 1909.
And he started a new company.
He did. He founded Audi, and Audi is actually the Latin translation of his last name, Horch, which means listen or hark in German.
So the founder of the elegant Horch also founded Audi. I didn't know that.
It's a great connection. And later, Horch, the company, kept innovating. In 1926, they introduced that straight-eight engine we talked about. That really became the foundation for their most famous and elegant designs, like the 853.
And by 1935, that engine was up to nearly 5 liters, making 100 horsepower in the 850 series.
Correct. And the 853, which had a slightly shorter wheelbase, was really popular. It offered that Mercedes-Benz level of luxury, but often at a more competitive price point. It was a smart move in the luxury market.
But things got tough financially in the early 30s, right? The Great Depression.
Indeed. Money was tight everywhere. So in 1932, a big merger happened. Audi, Horch, DKW, and Wanderer, 4 German car makers joined forces to create Auto Union.
Ah, the 4 rings, like on modern Audis.
That's where it comes from. They still produce cars under their individual brand names, like Horch, but they pooled resources, especially for things like the Auto Union racing team.
Did the racing influence the road cars, like the 853?
To some extent, yes. Racing pushes technology. For example, the 853 chassis used a D-Dion rear axle suspension design, which was quite advanced and offered better handling, likely influenced by engineering developments from racing.
And they kept improving the 853.
They did. To stay competitive, particularly against Mercedes, they launched the 853A model in 1937. The main upgrade was a more powerful engine, boosted to 120 horsepower.
So even more performance for this elegant car, but production didn't last long.
No, sadly. World War II started, and production of civilian cars like the Horch 853 and 853A basically stopped.
What a shame. But they left a legacy.
Absolutely. Today, the 853 and 853A are seen as some of the absolute finest, most elegant cars of the entire 1930s. You often see the surviving ones at top classic car shows, these concours d'elegance events where they usually win prizes, true automotive jewels.
Okay, let's switch gears slightly and focus on some useful English words related to our topic. Ready?
Let's do it. Our first word is elegant. Elegant means beautiful and stylish. Repeat. Elegant.
Elegant.
The Horch 853 had an elegant design. It looked very elegant, especially with two colors. A truly elegant car.
Got it. Elegant. Our next word is luxury. Luxury means something is very comfortable and very expensive. Repeat. Luxury.
Luxury.
The Horch 853 was definitely a luxury car. It offered, as you said, Mercedes-Benz luxury, a real symbol of luxury back then. Wealthy people wanted that luxury.
Okay, third word. Engine. An engine is the part of a car, or any vehicle really, that produces power to make it move. Repeat.
Engine.
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 The Horch 853 had a powerful straight-eight engine. Its engine produced 100 horsepower, later 120. A big engine for a big car. Every car needs an engine.
Right. Next up, production. Production is the process of making or manufacturing something. Repeat. Production.
Production.
The production of the Horch 853 was quite limited, wasn't it? Only 619 in the first run of production. The factory's monthly production was small.
Correct. Number 5 is owner. An owner is simply someone who legally possesses something, like a car. Repeat, owner.
Owner.
Himmler was one infamous owner of this famous car. We heard about several famous owners. The record showed the owner's name.
Okay. Number 6, restore. To restore something means to return it to its original condition, usually by repairing or cleaning it. Repeat. Restore.
Restore.
People really want to restore these beautiful cars today. A fully restored Horch takes a huge amount of effort to restore.
And our final word for today is famous. Famous means known about by many, many people. Repeat. Famous.
Famous.
The Horch 853 was popular among famous people, some infamous too. Certainly a famous classic car now. August Horch became a famous car maker and later founded the famous Audi company.
Excellent. Now, let's practice listening and speaking with a shadow drill. I'll say a sentence about the Horch, and you repeat it right after our expert. Ready?
Ready.
The Horch 853 had an elegant two-color finish.
The Horch 853 had an elegant two-color finish.
It was a luxury car popular among famous people.
It was a luxury car popular among famous people.
The engine produced 100 horsepower.
The engine produced 100 horsepower.
The production of the 853 was limited.
The production of the 853 was limited.
Himmler was one owner of this famous car.
Himmler was one owner of this famous car.
People want to restore these cars today.
People want to restore these cars today.
Great job. Okay, before our quiz, here's that fun fact again. Remember the special fish silver metallic paint option for the elegant Horch 853?
The one with the fish scales.
Exactly. It got its unique glittery look because they actually added very finely ground fish scales into the paint mixture.
Yeah.
Amazing, right? Definitely made that luxury car stand out.
Quite a conversation starter, I imagine. Okay, let's see what you remembered. Time for a mini quiz. 3 questions. Question 1. What year was the Horch 853 first presented?
What year was the Horch 853 first presented?
Give you a second to think. The answer is 1935. It debuted at the Paris Motor Show that year, 1935.
The answer is 1935. It was shown at the Paris Motor Show. Okay, second question. Which famous car company did August Horch found after he left his first company?
Which famous car company did August Horch later found?
Think about the name. The answer is Audi. Remember, Audi is the Latin version of his name, Horch. The company is Audi.
The answer is Audi. Audi is the Latin translation of his name. All right, last question. Where in Russia can you see an original Horch 853 today?
Where in Russia can you see an original Horch 853 today?
Think back to what we mentioned. The answer is the Vadim Zarozny Museum of Technology. That museum is located near Moscow. You can see it there.
The answer is the Vadim Zarozny Museum of Technology. It's near Moscow. Well done if you got those right. So just to wrap up, the Horch 853 from 1936. What a car. Incredibly elegant, a real luxury item owned by famous figures, and with a truly fascinating history.
Absolutely. And if this deep dive got you interested in seeing more cars from that era, you could check out the website for the Riga Motor Museum or, as we said, the Vadim Zadorozny Museum near Moscow if you happen to be there.
Yeah, and hopefully learning about the story behind such an elegant and famous car like the Horch 853 makes learning English a bit more fun and interesting for you car enthusiasts out there. Understanding the context really helps, doesn't it?
It really does. Connects the language to something real and passionate.
Well, it's been great exploring the world of this amazing machine. Join us next time for another Straight Drive.